Hey folks, Rick Berube here on another Facebook Live. And today you got just me. Is that proper English, Paul? You have just me. Sorry, there we go. You have just me today, and we're going to be doing this Facebook Live. And today we're going to be talking about taking listings. Okay? Hey, look at March, April, May, and June. Most of the markets that we're in, California, Arizona, Nevada, 50% of the listings usually get listed or more in some cases in those 4 months. So should you be working with buyers? Yes, you should be working with buyers. I'm going to tell you something though. If I'm working with a buyer today, I have given them the riot act. In other words, I've set expectations. My little set expectation conversation with buyers right now, it's critically important that you have that because they need to understand what they need to do in order to buy a home today. Very, very important. If you don't have that conversation with them, you're just asking for problems. And then when they lose 3 houses in a row, they can't blame them. So who do they blame? You. All right. And they go pick somebody else. So make sure you have that conversation with them. Save time. Save time. And the ones that don't want to go through and do what it takes, why would you want to drive around with them or meet them at places and make offers? And, it's really not fair to them if you do that as well. So I know today's about listings, but I had to throw that in about buyers. Also, okay, so where should you start? Okay, so look, I've been busy, I've been writing deals, but a lot of you right now are like, well, I've got a little time. What should I be doing to take listings? All right. Now, before you say, I already know that, Rick, okay, I want you to see if you're doing everything we're going to talk about this morning. Okay, first thing is your sphere. All right. If you're with Berkshire Hathaway, well, if you're not, it simply means one thing: you should be. Okay, I can't help it. Simple. I'm a salesperson, and I believe that beyond a shadow of a doubt as well. We have the best brand on the planet. We also have the best tools with this brand. Okay, so when you're working your sphere, there's so many options you can give them with what we have in our VAC 2.0. Okay, and our own marketing department and so forth. So you should be talking to your sphere. Nothing replaces talking to them. Now, if you can visit them, if you're not in California, you can visit them because you can hand out stuff. Like Arizona, Nevada, you can hand out stuff. California, you can't do that yet, but you can talk to them. You can email them. So there's no excuse not to do a version of what we're going to talk about. And I just like to check in. Hey, Paul, Rick Berube, how's it going? How's the kids? However I know you is where I start. I'm going to tell you 8 out of 10 times. And anybody who's done this systematic calling will verify that this is true. 80% of the time, they bring up real estate before you do. Hey, how's the market? What's going on? The market's incredible. Do you know anybody looking to buy? And then you get into getting a few questions in and so forth. And just that simple act of going through, I would go through alphabetically, okay, and just have that conversation. You should have that 3 or 4 times a year. Some of you even more than that. If I have somebody in my sphere that refers me a lot of business, I'm going to check in with them probably once a month. But as a fall safe number, 3 to 4 times. I think 4 times is best. Once a quarter, but even 3 times will probably get the job done. Alphabetically go through. Now, if I saw you at the grocery store, I don't have to call you because I already talked to you. All right. And then the other thing is I would make sure that everybody in my sphere is getting something of value from the VAC 2.0. The neighborhood reports, the market reports. There's so many different things, the newsletters. This is what I would send. I would send the neighborhood report and I would send a newsletter. Okay, once a month each, spread out by 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, they're getting an email from you with something of value. Okay, and if they look at the neighborhood report and they get involved in something, it notifies you and you can call them. I think that's incredibly good. That means you're paying attention. Now, when you're paying attention and they have to sell, they love that, just so you know. Okay, it's really that simple. Stay in touch. Make sure they're getting stuff from you. Now, every time I talk to you, I'm going to write you a handwritten note. Paul, great talking to you about your home, blah, 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 about your whatever. Can't wait to help you in the future. Blah, 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 my name and a few business cards. Send it. I don't really like junk mail, although right now I'd probably be doing it in California because you can't knock on their door and you can't drop things off. So I'd probably be mailing right now and calling. Arizona, Nevada, I'd still be knocking, dropping, and calling. And emailing. Okay, so it's really simple. So make sure you have a plan for your sphere. It just doesn't happen. And if you're one of these people that says, well, my sphere knows what I do, they'll call me, you're making a huge mistake. It's not their job to remember you. It's your job to remind them. And you can do it nicely, like even reverse prospecting, meaning you start with how you know them, how the kids, I haven't seen you at soccer, whatever, however you know them, from what school, your kids. And then if they don't bring up business, this is how I answer the call. Or real estate. I would answer the call with, by the way, Tom, don't forget what I do for work. I'd love to help anybody in your family, people you see at work, people down in the neighborhood, okay? Anybody at your church, anybody that you see on a regular basis that needs real estate needs, keep me in mind. Okay, so that's your sphere. That's a very simple program. People go, Rick, we know that they're so simple. Are you doing it? Because most of the agents that say to me, and I ask them, okay, tell me yours. Well, I haven't really implemented it yet. Well, don't tell me what else I can do until you're doing the foundational basics. Because the foundational basics, see, if you do, everything we're going to talk about, you very rarely ask me, well, what else can I do? Because this will give you all kinds of returns. I love when people ask me, what else can I do? Well, are you doing the basics? Well, no, but I want to know what else I can do. It doesn't even make sense. It's like I work out once a year. I can't understand why I'm in great shape. Well, because it's more than that. It's every day, or at least 3 to 5 times a week. Same thing with everything else. It's got to be consistent. And it feels repetitious. The funny thing is when you do all these things and you get them down and they're working, it almost becomes a little boring. I'm smiling because fun boring. When it's a little boring and you're making money, it's an okay boring. When you're not making money and you're bored, it's a little frustrating. It's a little stressful. All right, so that's your sphere. The next one is social media. Now, look at everything I just described there. You can do on social media. When you think of social media, think of 2 words: content, document. Content, document. Okay, so I'm going to give you content. Well, I've just explained all kinds of great content: neighborhood reports, newsletters. We have great stuff in the VAC. You can use all that kind of stuff for social media. Make sure everybody in your sphere, if you're on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, make sure everybody you're connected with from your sphere, even your farm too. Okay, so not only are you talking to them, not only are they getting valuable information by email from you or handwritten notes, they're also seeing you on social media. And I know what you're thinking. Isn't that too much? No, it's not. It's not too much, because the people that don't want to be friends with you, they'll unfriend you. So you just add more. Remember, social media is like a farm. It's like a demographic farm. Social media people from all over the place that have the ability to use you if you use that free medium to become familiar with them. That's all you're doing. It's like TV. It's amazing too when they see you on video, YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn, and they see you on video a few times before they meet you. They always treat you differently. It's really weird, okay? Because they've seen you in video first. You are using it as an opportunity to become familiar with a group of people that are not familiar with you right now. And everything I just mentioned about prospecting and doing all that stuff, you can video. You can, like, if you go door knocking, take a video with you. If I'm having an open house and I'm door knocking for it, I'm going to do a video of me door knocking. I'm going to put that on social media. So the part about content, you have all kinds of content, and especially with us at Berkshire Hathaway, you have all kinds of content you can use. Document means give them a little taste of what you're doing. It's almost like a little reality show. Now people go, well, I'm going to feel like a narcissist. Okay, you'll get past that. I love that's what Billy O'Keefe said to me. You're asking me to be a narcissist, Rick. Yes, I am. And after a short period of time, you don't feel like a narcissist anymore because you see it working. People are like, oh, thank you for, like with Billy, thank you for giving me a market update. Thank you for keeping me abreast of what's going on in Las Vegas. They love that stuff. If they don't, they'll unfriend you. It's very painless. All right. So then you can add new people. Like with me, I like to keep my friends right below 5,000 so I can accept a few more. And I'm constantly upgrading who's in that group. Could you imagine 5,000 home farm that you're consistent with, and all you have to do is update once a day to cover that? That's what it's like. And then if you have LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter and all that, guys, you're looking at one of the biggest holdouts in social media history. I can't even tell you what I used to call Facebook. Sorry, Facebook. don't silence me. I can't even tell you what I used to call it when I first came out, but it's an HR violation that I can't repeat. But it wasn't good, all right, because I just didn't see the value. Years later now, I see the value in it by using it. Okay, I've been doing this 36 years. It's the last new thing that I've learned, okay, other than the other things that we're going to talk about. But it definitely works if you use it properly. So we have your sphere, we have social media, and you can blend them all together. So when they think of real estate, they think of you. Okay, same with your farm. If you have a geographic area, and I've just gone over that with a lot, this is the time of year people get into the farming, okay? If you haven't started one yet, now's a great time to do it. And once again, all the tools I just described to you for your sphere, you can also use that for your farm. I would also make sure my farm people are connected on social media. All right. My favorites are Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and I'm even on TikTok now. Okay. No, I don't do dancing videos, although I am considering it. All right. So, and they all work. They all work. I know somebody that's getting multi-million-dollar buyers off of TikTok. Okay, he's like the ambassador, just gives updates of the area. Hey, it works. Okay, as long as you're consistent. Farming works when you're consistent. Your sphere works when you're consistent. Okay, and social media works if you're consistent. It all depends on all of these things. You can develop them around your personality. Really. Okay, so farming, most people it's a geographic area, or it could be demographic, just like we talked about in social media. But pick an area and be consistent. Once again, you got to go through there a few times a year. I think once a quarter is a good number, minimum. You could go through once a month for a farm. What do you go through your farm with? I'm so glad you asked. Just listeds, just solds, I'm having an open house, or a market report. And sometimes you can combine those all together. You just need an excuse, a reason to go through your farm once a quarter. There's always a reason to find. I never got craftier than the 4 I just mentioned. And as a matter of fact, the neighborhood report I'm talking about didn't even exist when I did it. I did like this newsletter I put together myself. This is way more slick and informative than what I used to give out. Okay, so at least once a quarter, go through your farm, whether it's knocking, calling. Like if you're in California, you have to call and you have to mail right now. Unless you have all their email addresses, then you can just email. Nevada and Arizona, you can go door knocking. And I'm talking to a lot of people that are door knocking right now. And I know if you're thinking, what kind of reception are you going to get right now? Great, because they haven't seen anybody be doing this for a while. When you're doing stuff like this at a time that very few people are, they remember it when they have to sell. Remember that. Don't be unsafe. Wear your mask. Knock on doors. Take a few steps back. Okay, but you can definitely do these things in Arizona and Nevada and California. You can just call and no, but in California, as soon as you can knock, get back out there knocking. Okay. Now here's 2 that not a lot of people do, and I'm telling you, I've got people in the business for a year and a half that are killing it with expireds. So that's another group. So we went through Sphere, we went through social media, your farm, now expired listings. And if you're afraid of the new ones, which there's a lot of competition right now, let's face it, call the old ones. A year and a half old, 2.5 years old. There's companies out there like the Red X, Land Voice, Mojo, that'll help you. Don't use the auto dialers, but that'll help you find the scrubbed ones. I want them like a year old, 2 years old, 3 years old. They have more equity. They pay down more. All right. And statistically, they sell before anybody else again. Meaning that if they were on the market 3 times before, but the last time they didn't relist and they were on the market a year and a half ago and you call them, hi, this is Rick with Berkshire Hathaway. I see your home was on the market a while back and it didn't sell. I was calling to see when you plan on getting it back on the market and getting it sold this time. Very simple. You're not. Why would you? It's such a great house. I'm looking at it online here. Wow. I'm just curious though. What do you think stopped it from selling? There's something I cover this in my training. You don't buy into the reflex no at first because everybody gives you no. No doesn't end the conversation. It starts it. As a matter of fact, when it starts with no, most of the time it goes better by the time you get to yes because they're testing you. They don't know you. They're not going to be honest with you at first. It's called a reflex no. And you just repeat, approve, and keep going. Okay, by the way, all of this stuff is on my YouTube channel, so check it out there. So old expireds are a great source right now. And we have, once again, tremendous material in the VAC for you to set them up on auto drips as well, like a farm. You could call it your expired demographic farm. Great. All right. And then for sale by owners. Okay. Every one of our markets has for sale by owners. Don't even start with, we don't have those in my area. Yes, you do. All right. And it's a perfect time to go visit them. All right. Once again, wear your mask, be safe. And if they won't let you visit online. Okay, great. Send me over the pictures. Okay. Or a video if you have it. I'll call you right back. You can walk it through and explain it to me. Okay. I just start talking to them like they're going to work with me. All right. I talk to people like I know them, even people I don't know. And I talk to people like they're going to work with me. And so far it's worked out pretty good. Been doing this 36 years. And so far it's worked out pretty good. It's a pretty simple plan. Because when it comes down to it, the reason that we're still here as real estate agents, as realtors, with the disruptions that we've had in all these years, you know how many times I've heard, oh my God, we're not going to have a job in a year. And the first one for me was the internet. People laugh when I tell them that. And yes, I'm not old. I just started young in real estate, 19, and got my license. Okay, and I remember in my mid-20s, the first disruptor we had was the internet. All right, and people think, I hope you like your job because you won't be necessary with the internet because, and sure enough, and down the line, because it's a personal touch business. You get better at personal touch, meaning talk to more people. Okay, be good at presenting to them, practice it. Okay, and do the basics. You don't need to get any flashy. All the videos you need to do can be done right here on this. All right, you don't have to get any flashier than that. And you don't have to get any flashier than the tools that we have as a company in the VAC 2.0. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of great stuff in there. And if you're not using Apex by now, you should be. But this is too short for me to explain all that. Okay? So have a plan to take listings. Don't forget this afternoon at 1 o'clock if you're in Pacific time, or if you're in Arizona, it's 2 o'clock. We have Tony Smith from the Mike Ferry organization doing Strengthening Your Listing presentation. I can't personally wait to see that and talk to him about that. That starts in a few hours, 1 o'clock Pacific time. If you're in Arizona, it's 2 o'clock. All right, have a plan, follow it. What the hell? If you're not in my coaching, join it. It's free if you're with Berkshire Hathaway. Doesn't mean it doesn't have any value. It just means it doesn't cost you any money. All right, guys, hope to see you soon. Thanks for your time. Get out there and get it done.